So throughout my time being a massive horror fan, I've noticed one important thing between Halloween and Friday the 13th. They're basically the same goddamn film. The main director of Friday the 13th even confirmed this in an interview, saying that it's massively a Halloween clone, so hey, at least he's honest. But the truth behind Halloween and Friday the 13th being so similar isn't quite as simple as we just copied them. Because the movies are both extremely similar but also very different in multiple different ways, it kind of makes things difficult, especially when you take into account that Halloween is technically a copy of the film called Black Christmas. Woohoo. Now see, Black Christmas came out just after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and kind of helped create the slasher genre as we know it. And there are so many parts of that movie which Halloween directly takes influence from, including the POV shots where the killer stalks them one by one and picks them off when no one else is looking, and pretty much everything else which has just become synonymous with the slasher genre. But the main difference between Halloween and Friday the 13th with their copying is that Halloween is quite openly a loose sequel to Black Christmas. You see, the concept for a Black Christmas sequel was kind of given to John Carpenter and then he created Halloween, but Friday the 13th literally just looked at Halloween's success and went, fuck it, we're going to make a hell of a lot of money. Throughout the film you'll see multiple shots which are exactly the same, including at the beginning of the movie where you literally see the killer's point of view as he kills the first couple of victims. Also now known as the murder at the start of every slasher movie. If you don't have it, you're not a real slasher film. Yes, it's true.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
And similar to how Black Christmas was able to have Billy stalk and kill everyone one by one when they're all separated, Halloween did the same. I mean, just Michael literally tests his different victims to figure out who he can take out first, killing them all one by one until there's a final girl. Notice the final girl trope already, which was also in Black Christmas. Now, Friday the 13th completely ripped on this entire idea by having an unknown killer just stalking everyone, a lot more similar to Black Christmas than it is to Halloween. Notice so far how every single one of these films influences the other. Now, Friday the 13th, the only real difference is that the kills were a hell of a lot more gruesome because they had a lot less plot storyline. See, Black Christmas revolved around the murders around the town, no one really knew what was happening, except the audience who knew there was a killer hiding in the sorority house, but no one else really understood that. In Halloween, everyone sees Michael walking around, but they don't really suspect it, it's just a weirdo wearing a mask on Halloween. Everyone's wearing a mask on Halloween, it's not really that difficult. But with Friday the 13th, they couldn't really get away with that kind of gimmick, because they knew that they didn't really have enough storyline, since the entire film was pretty much made within about a year. So instead they went with who is the killer, with a whodunit scenario, but the only difference is, by the time they actually realise that they've done a whodunit scenario, there's only one cast member left, and it's very obviously not them who's the killer. Once again, copying the final girl trope. All three of the showdowns are also pretty similar. In Black Christmas, Jess has a showdown with the killer Billy. Even though they don't properly have a showdown, she instead murders her boyfriend, it's still got the same kind of chase sequence where Billy chases her into the basement and then tries to kill her, but she escapes because, hey, it's a final girl rule. In Halloween, it's exactly the same kind of thing. You've got Laurie running around the house protecting the kids when the kids escape, just her showing down with Michael, and in Friday the 13th, it's exactly the same thing where there's only one character left, so therefore they have to have a showdown with the main killer, but in this case it's Mrs. Voorhees. Another thing all three films have exactly the same issue with is the fact that everyone is getting killed off one by one within this film, audience can see it, obviously the characters can't, and then they all realise around about 20 minutes before the end, including credits, and then that's when shit properly goes down. All three of the girls find all the bodies of their dead friends just kind of strewn about in a way that makes the killer seem a little bit like they're wanting to do an art project, but you're not really sure why, and then we get the actual final girl sequence. All three of them as well, for all three killers, have defeated multiple times, but nothing really happens. Billy's shoved against a wall, Michael's literally stabbed with a coat hanger, and Mrs. Voorhees is knocked the hell out, but none of that really matters because no matter what, the killer always comes back for the last little bit. The main core difference, though, between all three films is the fact that all three of them have a distinct style. Black Christmas is much more of a psychological horror. It tries to focus on taking them out one by one with the victims completely unaware, but they know something's on, and it's kind of that lingering tension throughout. Halloween is much more of a stalker movie where it's literally following them and taking them out when no one else is looking, similar to Black Christmas. And Friday the 13th is one of the most stereotypical slashers in the world because there's so much blood and gore, and the deaths are so over the top, and the characters are just so bland and boring. One of the most intriguing things about this, though, is the fact that even though Black Christmas caused this entire genre, it is very well unknown. And Halloween is somehow known as the creator of the entire genre, even though that's definitely not true since many other films came before it. But one thing I found very interesting throughout this is that Black Christmas only made $4 million, which was good for the amount of budget it cost, but when Halloween made $70 million and Friday the 13th made $60 million, both copycat movies, it's a wee bit weird. The thing I find so intriguing about this is how every single one of these films has caused so much influence into so many other films, but yeah, only one of them is actually that original. Halloween was created from a possible sequel which may have been made to Black Christmas, but just never got around to it and was only ever in the concept phase. And Friday the 13th is quite openly a copycat of the first Halloween movie. And honestly, it's quite intriguing just to see how much the two movies have influenced so much in the horror genre, but yet the one that actually caused all this is mostly forgotten, even though it's probably the best out of all three. So that was my comparison between the first three proper slasher movies. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!